In this video, we're going to look through the various tools we can use to edit inside the timeline. So I've just dropped some of our B-roll into our sequence, and we're just going to kind of use that to play around and experiment with. So as you begin, you might find yourself using the selection tool a lot. And so you can use the selection tool to trim clips, but as you can see, when you do that, you have to make another step, which is right-clicking and ripple deleting. Well, there's a lot of tools that are going to save you time and not give you that extra step. Another operation you might be doing is trying to select all your clips. And so then you're scrolling down and trying to find them all, and you're fighting with your view, and there's all sorts of tools that will help you with that. So let's just walk through and get to know our tools. Now as we go through, I'm also going to mention that your kind of default position is always the selection tool. That's what we're currently on. And the keyboard shortcut for the selection tool is V. That's the same across the Adobe suite. So that's a handy thing to remember so that you can save yourself time hopping back and forth. First tools we're going to look at is the track selection tools. And there's both a forward select and a backward select. So with my forward select, all I have to do is select here, and I've selected all of my clips down in the timeline. It also works in reverse. So if I was down on this end of the timeline, I can use the track select backward and select all of those. Now let's say that I actually didn't want to select this set. Well, I could simply use the track and select there, and I've not selected these. So that's some helpful tools for selection. Our next set of tools are going to be actual editing tools. So let's look at the ripple edit tool. If you remember, I did a trim with my selection tool at the beginning, but it left us with a gap at the beginning and end of that clip. If I use my ripple edit tool, it ripples those edits through, so all of those clips move as well. Works the same if I work from this direction. So I'm trimming that clip, and it ripples those changes through. I'm just Command Zing after each change so that we can go back to where we were. Here's my rolling edit tool. And what the rolling edit tool is it allows us to roll edits. And so notice I'm changing my out point there. So I'm rolling changes through my clips. And all of this depends on if there is additional information within that clip for me to access and change. But note that the in and out point is changing, but I'm also not left with gaps. So ripple edit just changes that one way, and it changes ripple through. But with that rolling edit, those changes kind of just roll into this clip. So it's just into that next clip. Our rate stretch tool, and we'll hover right here so you can kind of get an idea of the speed. Well, if I do a rate stretch on this, I've basically sped that clip up, and look how much faster we're moving through. Now, we also have that ripple that we need to take care of, but we could use a combination of tools with our track select back and forward and move those. I'm going to go ahead and Command Z that. Our next tool is the razor, and this is going to let us cut to any point along the clip. Wherever my playhead is, it's going to cut. So now you can see I have a trim right there, and it also trimmed the audio. So if I wanted to select that, I could then delete it, or in this case, I might want to ripple delete. And then that ripples those changes through. For our next tool, we're going to come down here where I've got some clips sitting right next to each other. This is the slip and slide tool. Now, unlike our rolling and ripple edits, these tools allow our edits to not impact in and out points. So I want us to look very carefully here. Here's the end of this clip, and then here's the beginning of this clip. So we go from her writing, and she's writing right after that word ginger, and here she is with our back walking toward the customer. At the end of this clip, here we have her boxing up donuts, and here we have her holding donuts. So our first tool, slip, I'm going to select our middle clip, and we're going to get a very interesting screen here. So what I want you to look at is that our top two clips that you see, in the red dress and holding the donuts, those are not changing. I'm basically sliding the bottom clip. So it's moving that clip in time, not changing the in and out points. So if I come down to the end of this clip, now we end at the cash register instead of over here. And at this point, she's already went to the customer, not her back is facing us. So the slide tool works the same way, except it is changing our in and out points. So if we look at this, you can see we are actually changing those in and out points and moving those clips. So that's a look at some very helpful tools with the slip and slide. Our next tool is kind of when you're going to be doing some graphic work. So we use our pen tool. We can create shapes with it. We can also use it to keyframe our audio. And we'll have a whole separate video for this later, but let's just give you a little sneak preview of it now. So that white line is my audio level, and I can just come along here, add points with my pen tool, and dip my audio. Hidden beneath the pen tool are my shape tools, so if I wanted to create some graphics, I could do that. Next tool is the zoom tool, and by default, it is a plus zoom. So I'm zooming in, and if I want to zoom out, all I have to do is hold down my Alt and click, and then I'm zooming out. Coupled with that is my hand tool that's going to allow me to move around in my timeline. And then you also saw me use this method where I'm hovering between tracks and I'm expanding them. So that's another kind of helpful tool for navigating along with the hand tool. And then finally we have our type tools. So if we're adding any type of type, we can add that to our script. So that gives you an idea of some of the tools. And my suggestion is kind of just learn to play with these. They will make your editing life easier. So if you're always, using the selection tool for your trims and then taking that extra step, that's going to add to the time in your editing process.